Hi, Jimmy here, and today we're talking about swords. Swords and rivers. Insert women in ponds distributing swords joke here. So you may remember that late last year, a gentleman down in Oxfordshire found a sword in the River Cherwell, and he reported the find to the Portable Antiquities Scheme, and the liaison officer then did some investigation, and they have now confirmed that this is an actual, authentic, 1,000-year-old Peterson Type M Mike sword. This is a Viking Age sword from 850 to 975. It's a Type M sword, so it's got that nice flat pommel on the end of it there. Very simple kind of munitions grade furniture for a sword. Nothing fancy schmancy as far as we can tell. And it's in amazing condition. And this is a style of sword that was used throughout that 850 to 975 period. So right through that 125 years, slap bang in the middle of the Viking Age. And that's really, really cool. And it's great that we've got this sword. It's not a particularly rare thing to have a Viking sword. We have literally hundreds of Viking swords. I think we've got about 1,000 of these weapons from northwestern Europe. We've got like 1,000 Viking Age swords. But it is quite rare to have a complete weapon like this, and a complete weapon in condition this good is a rarity for sure. It almost looks too good to be true. And it very nearly is, or rather it very nearly was too good to be true, because this sword was not excavated from the river using maritime archaeological excavation techniques. This sword was dredged out of the river using magnet fishing. Now, if you're not familiar with magnet fishing is basically where you take a really strong magnet on a string and you chuck it into a body of water and then you see what attaches to it. And sometimes you can just drop it in as though you were fishing and pull it back out. Many people will, though, throw it and then dredge it back towards them. And magnet fishing, like metal detecting, is something that gives archaeologists the heebie-jeebies. Now, if you're an excavating archaeologist or you're a field archaeologist, your bum may have clenched when I talked about magnet fishing and metal detecting, and rightly so. Metal detectorists have ruined many an archaeological site. I've worked on archaeological sites where we've had night hawking, where we've had people coming in at night with metal detectors trying to steal artefacts. Those people were caught because we left people on site because we're not idiots, and they were reported to the police, and they were found to have stolen things from sites before, and they went to prison. And metal detectoring can also be a really, really valuable thing in archaeology. So that is a huge caveat there. I have used metal detectors. I've worked on sites where we have employed metal detectorists. I love the Detectorists, the program. I think it's fabulous. And loads of metal detectorists love archaeology and want to do archaeology the right way, which is by operating honestly and openly. And my friend Andy, who excavated the Galloway Hoard, got the phone call from a metal detectorist saying, I found something really important, I think you should come and check it out. They did a really good, really quick excavation on it. They got the Galloway Hoard out of the ground, and now we've got this incredible assemblage of silver and gold and precious things, and it's absolutely amazing when it's done properly. When it's done improperly, it can be really damaging. And the same is true with magnet fishing. When it's done properly, you get amazing artifacts, everybody is happy. There are some aspects to this case that suggest maybe things weren't done quite by the book. The main one being the Canals and River Trust does not allow magnet fishing. And they sent legal documents out basically telling the man who found this sword, if you don't give this to a museum, we're going to take you to court. The landowner could have been in lots of trouble. The gentleman who found the sword could have been in lots of trouble. Neither of them are in lots of trouble because they gave the sword to the museum, which is where it belongs in the first place, obviously. It's a Viking Age sword, and that's not a common thing in Oxfordshire. But the way this seems to have gone down, as far as I can tell, is he was magnet fishing on a stretch of the River Cherwell in Oxfordshire without the knowledge of the Canals and River Trust, who maintain lots of major rivers and canals in the UK. The landowner may or may not have been aware of this issue. He then dredges the river, finds this Viking Age sword, and then does the right thing by reporting it to the PAS, the Portable Antiquity Scheme, which is a scheme in England and Wales. There's a different system up in Scotland. They both have their problems. And he reports it to the PAS, the Find Liaison Officer in Standlake, up the road, comes along, takes it, does some testing on it. A couple of months later, lo and behold, it is an authentic Viking Age sword. The Viking Age sword is now staying in Witney, like Witney, like the wool blankets, right? Same Witney, Witney wool blankets. They've even got a museum there. It's now staying in the museum in Witney, not the blanket museum, and there it lives. Okay, and I'm not saying there's any ill feeling from the guy because he doesn't get to keep the cool Viking Age sword that he found in a river, but how would you feel if you found a cool Viking Age sword in a river as part of your hobby that is kind of an adrenaline sport, as far as I can tell? People get a little bit of excitement, not knowing what they're going to find. It's a little bit like archaeology, like that. Oh, what are we going to find? What are we going to dig up? Like, what are we going to pull out of the river today? Is it going to be a shopping trolley, or is it going to be a motorcycle engine, or is it going to be a Viking Age sword, or is it going to be a hand grenade? And therein lies another rub, which is last year, in January 2023, the British Museum released a statement basically saying, please don't dredge rivers and canals with magnets, you're damaging artefacts. Because another sword was found, and the hilt snapped off it as it was being dragged across a riverbed. Yeah, imagine how mortifying that would be, right? Imagine if you were digging on an archaeological site, for example, and you put your mattock through a human skull, right? You would absolutely cry yourself to sleep for the next 3 weeks. Imagine you're dragging a magnet across a riverbed, which sounds like something that could cause damage in any case, right? And that's because it can. That's one of the reasons the CRT don't like people doing it. And you find a sword, but its bum's been snapped off. Yeah, not great. The other reason that they don't like people doing it, the Canals and River Trust, is that it can be really dangerous. In 2018, a father and son were killed doing this. No joke, they were dragged into a canal and drowned. These are really powerful magnets, right? If you throw a really powerful magnet towards something that it magnetizes to, it might pull you. 2 people died doing this in Huddersfield. That's like an hour down the road from where I am right now. They were drowned in a canal. They were found, and I quote from the report, vertically submerged. I don't even want to think about being vertically submerged in a canal. And I don't want to think about any of you guys being vertically submerged in a canal. Please don't go and get vertically submerged in a canal. So, it's a dangerous thing for people, and it's a dangerous thing for artefacts. Yeah, you might find a hand grenade or some live ordnance, but even if you don't find actively dangerous stuff, it is a dangerous activity. And it can damage rivers and canals, and we really need to be helping our rivers and canals. Like the Canals and River Trust basically say, we love that people want to pull waste metal out of our canals, but please don't do it like this. Like, there are other ways of doing this. And obviously, I, as an archaeologist and a person who has some skin in this game, want all our artefacts to be excavated properly. I want people to be paid properly and to have careers in archaeology and to have much, much more secure job prospects in the industry. I don't want finds being stolen. I don't want finds being damaged. I don't want people risking their health and their safety dragging things out of rivers and potentially damaging them either. Like, I know it's a really cool activity. I've done it myself. Like, full disclosure, when I was a teenager, a friend of mine bought a really strong magnet. We attached it to the end of a rope, we chucked it into the river, into the Afon Ogwen in Bangor to go and have a look, see what we could find. We didn't find anything. We chucked it into the Afon Ogwen, into the Afon Cegin in Bangor. We didn't find anything. We went up to the Afon Ogwen in Bethesda, we chucked it into the Ogwen. We didn't find anything much. We found like a couple of bits of metal, we found like some old chain and that kind of thing that was probably part of the old quarry up there. We didn't find very much, and like it never became a big hobby. But I also have friends and relatives who metal detect, and a couple of them have done it illegally. They've done it the bad way. and they've found stuff and they've not reported it, and they haven't even mentioned it to the Portable Antiquity Scheme or the local fines liaison officer, and it's really not cool. You are just looting. You are stealing history for personal gain, and that's really sad. So obviously don't do that. Chances are, if you find something and it's not like a massive gold coin hoard, if we don't need any more of them in the archives, you might be able to keep it anyway. So just report the things. Report the stuff you find. Just find another way of doing it safely and in a way that's not going to potentially get you into trouble or get you hurt or killed. I guess. Like, I feel like I should have an opinion on this, and I feel like I should be saying something with this video, and I guess, like, it's cool that we have more artifacts, but this doesn't seem like the way to get them. Incidentally, if you're not aware of magnet fishing, you can search it in YouTube, and there are thousands of magnet fishing videos out there. Go and search for it after you've watched this video and liked and subscribed, of course. So yeah, I don't know, what do you guys think? Is there a way we can make magnet fishing a safe and useful part of archaeology like metal detectoring has become in recent decades? Are there ways that we can do it that make it safer? I don't know, is this something that you've done? Have you found a way that you can do this more safely? It'd be interesting to know, right? Because I'm not an expert, I don't profess to be an expert, but maybe once you've finished watching and you've liked and subscribed and checked out the Patreon and the coffee page in the description there, you might want to explore this subject a little bit further. But go have a look at the reports. I've got a couple of articles and that sort of thing in the description about the sword and about the find, and I hope you enjoyed this. This isn't what today's video is going to be about, but it is now. And yeah, I will catch you next time. Thank you very much for watching. Diolch yn fawr iawn am wylio. And tan y tro nesa, as ever, till the next time, hwyl fawr. Bye-bye. Magnets. How do they work?